Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline.AG is your number one source for all your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. Basketball, MLB, NHL, right to UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code, that's Bleav, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow and my brother Teja Dash. Last week it ended with fireworks with the Utah Jazz offering that deal to Paul Reed, and then going down to Sunday, going down to the wire. Sixers bring back Paul Reed. We're going to get into all that in this episode, but how's everybody doing?
Yeah, yourself? Can't complain.
Can't complain.
Pretty good.
Obviously nothing's happened with this James Harden stuff, but more nuggets seem to be coming out about the whole situation. So yeah, we got lots to get into today on the show. So we're going to kind of just dive right in. So as I mentioned, Paul Reed, we resigned Paul Reed to a deal up to 3 years. Years 2 and 3 are guaranteed if we make it to the second round at $23 million. And there's some mixed reviews from social media about the deal. Some don't like the money being tied to a backup to Joel, and others think we need to keep our young talent. So what do you guys think about the deal and keeping Paul Reed in Philadelphia?
Mixed reviews on social media? No. Come on, of course.
I mean, it could swing, it could just only be one way. Mixture sometimes is a good thing.
Yeah.
I think he's a young guy that I wanted to come back, and I wanted on the team. The contract does make it interesting, only because we have, outside of Joel, we have the third, second, third, and fourth best player. We don't know how the contract's going to look.
Yeah.
So it's really up in the air from that standpoint. So you have to, assuming we accomplish what we, somewhat, at least the second round, then it becomes guaranteed, and you just don't know. Like, I think that I would have been more pressed to give him the deal if we have some more security or
clarity,
kind of knowing where we were going.
Yeah.
So that uncertainty kind of gives me some hesitation, because it's, we need that space to kind of make a big move here. Like, we don't know. Like, we don't know what's going to happen with James, and even with Tobias. I mean, Tobias is in the last year of his deal, and either he's going to stay and come back, or we're going to have to fill that position.
Yep.
And, Maxey is, if you're looking at what some of these other young guys are getting, you can assume what Maxey's expecting.
Hoping.
No, expecting. Because all they do is compare the stats.
It's true.
Just compare them. I mean, it's the kid from the Pacers made the All-Star game, but the numbers are terrible. That's last season. I mean, Bang, you look at Bang, and I think that's who he's going to look at.
Yeah.
He's going to look at his contract.
We're gonna try to give him more of a hero contract, but he's gonna be like, "No, I want Bane money."
It's not even happening. not even entertaining that.
Yeah.
Who would you say was his agent? Rich?
Yeah.
Not even entertaining that.
Did Rich Paul represent either of Bane or
No.
Or no, he doesn't.
No.
Or Halliburton. Oh, okay.
No, but he got Van Fleet 45 a year. So If Van Fleet's getting 45 a year and you have
Houston has to spend money, man. All the
yeah,
players
but
are young.
I hear you on that, but if you're Rich Paul, you're not selling it that way by his other players. You're like,
I mean, he's coming in there as a starter for 3 years.
Yeah, no, I'm not arguing against the money. I'm saying if Rich Paul, by his standards, is like, Maxey's entering his prime, why is he not going to get crazy money like that? I'm saying for his case. I'm saying
I mean, Fred. I mean, like I told you, I'm not in anybody's pocket. I'm happy for him. I'm saying
I'm in his pocket.
He's looking at the other contracts, and I told you guys. Maybe I told you, and I told some other people when people were talking about Jordan Poole got so much money, and they want to talk about his contract, and I was like, his contract won't be anything compared to some of these other guys that's about to get paid.
Yeah, Poole, and I would love it closer to Poole and Hero's money, but that's just
but a couple weeks ago that was too much. Before these guys signed, that was too much.
Shit, I'll take that as a starting point now. I'll take that as a middle starting, and we're close to that now.
Exactly. I was telling a couple friends of mine, I was like, look, of course I'm like, y'all blaming the guy that played 50 minutes and then he made too much money. I'm like, oh my goodness. I said, all right. And I pulled out the salaries for the shooting guards in the NBA.
Yeah.
And I showed them like all of the guys that were behind Poole that were coming up for contracts.
Yep.
Like all the guards. As soon as they start getting these deals, they all text me. I'm like, man, I told y'all. he had a quote unquote friendly deal for Golden State for his position based on where it was going. So now you go and he's going to be probably the leading scorer for the Wizards.
Oh yeah, he's gonna get crazy stats on that team.
On a deal that's half what Halliburton got.
It's good for Washington because that deal is going to look like a bargain when he averages 27 next year. And
that's what I'm saying.
They could trade his ass for.
They gonna say yes.
They could trade him for more than they got for him.
Yes.
More than they got him for. Yeah. Now the hero thing confuses me unless he just gave him a deal because he was coming off a 6th Man of the Year award. I don't know why he didn't get more than what he got because he could have, right? He wasn't restricted to that money.
Yeah,
it's weird, right?
I don't know if the market was like that for him though.
Well, I don't think it's still is it for. That's why the Portland
can't. He came off as a and he was coming off as a full-time reserve. Yeah. This past year was his first time starting.
Yeah, which he was hurt.
It's hard for people to like consider not starters ever to command that.
Yeah. We probably should have kept Maxey on the bench and then offered him a hero type deal.
Look, we had that conversation in one of our shows, like whether you consider a starter versus a bench player. Like their salaries will be different. So you can't go and compare yourself to Bane if you're a reserve.
Yep, it's true. Yep. I mean,
but Maxey offered that. He was the one who wanted to play on the bench. He told Doc that was
okay. Eric's, yeah, exactly. So I was on the fence about Reed.
Yeah, you're right.
Wasn't it? I was on the fence about Reed, but I think part of that was me just buying into this whole unofficial plan that we're trying to save as much cap space next year as possible. But I just think you can't lose. You can't lose homegrown young talent because you're trying to save space for these mythical players next year that we don't even know are going to come here, right? Like that list is dwindling by the day as guys are getting extensions and re-signed. But the only thing that goes against that would be a lot of the big name players can just be traded for. I think that's how most players have been switching teams this year, have been trades. So a name could pop up at any moment who's unhappy with his team that we could trade for. But I mean, just under $8 million a year for 3 years. I think they're definitely banking on him getting better with that contract. And I think Nurse has probably assured them that he fits his mold, is his kind of guy. So, I mean, I like that he's back. Are there negatives to it? can it be moved? I know he's got no trade clause, but that doesn't mean he's going to reject any trade that we throw at him. I mean, if we say, "Hey, you want to go to LA?" He might just be like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah.
So we don't know. He can't be traded to Utah for a year. We do know that.
Yeah.
But $7.5 million, $8 million. That's not a deal breaker for a team to be like, no, we're not. You're not dumping that on us. It's not a bad contract in terms of where he's been headed because he has gotten better every year and what his money is. So,
yeah,
I like that he's back.
Yeah, that would have, as far as the fan base, and the fan base has been kind of in shambles all off season since Harden opted in and requested a trade, and we're not really getting anything as of right now. We're not getting anything for him, and we've seen a lot of guys go. Paul Reed leaving, and everyone loves Paul Reed. He's a huge fan favorite. He left, fan base would have been very, very upset. So I don't know if Morey knew he had to do that. And Morey's really big on the Twitter trends and stuff. So Morey was all about keeping everyone happy. I don't know if that was the main reason.
If people out there think that Morey's making decisions based on Twitter reactions, they're messing with the wrong one because he's not doing that. Especially with how much money he costed them in luxury. Because I think what was at the end, I think he cost like 14 or 15 million on luxury tax. So in the end, his contract was really like 23 million for this year if you include luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going into Josh Harris's office saying, "You got to see these reactions on Twitter, man. And come on, give me that extra 14 million to sign him." That ain't happening.
Yeah.
So you mentioned Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse said in a recent interview talking about Paul Reed that Reed's been in the gym more than anyone he's seen this summer. Nurse said that Reed plays with his heart and guts, but he wants him to advance his skills. So I just want to ask you guys, what do you think Reed needs to work on in order to receive more minutes and if for some people to justify the money that he's getting this upcoming year? What do you want to see him improve on?
I mean, it has to be, obviously spreading the court. I'm not sure if he's going to be there, but I think his ability to spread the court will allow him to play with Joel more and not restrict him to maybe minutes being strictly backup or very limited minutes with him. I mean, ultimately, that's what it's going to come down to, his ability to show the versatility of playing alongside Joel.
They say he's shooting about 700 jumpers a day. I think that's what I read. So, obviously, he knows it's a long way to go, but I like that he knows exactly what he needs to work on. These guys aren't clueless, right? Unless they're in denial. But you read stories like, the apparent one with Zion saying he doesn't want to add a mid-range jumper or other jumpers to his game. I like that Reed knows exactly what he needs to work on, and he's working on it. Even if he gets like some semblance of like a mid-range deep jumper, he could definitely play with Joel. He's a good defender, active hands, good rebounder, lob threat. He hustles. He can guard multiple positions too. He's pretty athletic for his size. So I think at this point, 3-point shooting and better handling. He fumbles the ball a little too much for my taste. So
yeah, and Embiid does too. Actually, it's two guys who can't just get the board. I do want to ask you though. Do you guys see, because you talk about the playing next to Embiid? Some people have been floating around on Twitter. Maybe a chance if Reed can kind of advance his game a little bit that he could kind of supersede PJ Tucker for that power forward position in the starting lineup. If the team is pretty much the same team we bring back this past year, if Harden stays, Tobias stays, could you see a world where Paul Reed could take over the starting 4 position over PJ Tucker?
So is PJ the 4 or is Tobias the 4?
we had this discussion last year, the same exact time.
Just asking.
I think people online are assuming that PJ.
So if you're saying, so if you're playing Paul Reed in front of PJ, you're saying Tobias is a 3.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you'd have to. He better develop that jumper. Feel that. I mean, I definitely want Tucker's minutes to come down.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
No. So you think at this point Tucker's locked in at 4?
I can see his minutes maybe catching up or passing up, but I don't see him jumping right in the starting lineup. I think it has some of the things that we're talking about has to happen
gradually.
For that to happen.
Yeah. So at this point,
right now, PJ's a more consistent 3-point threat than he is.
Yeah. So at this point, you have Tucker at 3, Tobias at 4, still locked in as starters. If the season started today,
I mean, I don't really know. I mean, the way they use them, they're both spot up shooters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're both cornermen.
Really, I mean, in most instances, you are who you can defend.
Yeah, and they both can switch on 3s and 4s, so matchup dependent.
Yeah, but I would consider PJ more to 3. Like if we play Miami, like who's guarding Jimmy?
Tucker.
Yeah, that would be more to 3 to me.
Yeah. Yep.
So talking about because pretty much we've brought in with bringing back Paul Reed, signing Mo Bamba. We got a lot of 4s and 5s. A lot of bigs. So Bamba talked in his introductory press conference, talked about pairing with Embiid on the court and mentioned how Ibaka and Gasol shared the floor in Nurse's offense. So my question is, do you think he could play some minutes at the 4 with Embiid on the floor? And at this point, who do you think will be Embiid's primary backup at the 5? And remember, we have Paul Reed, Bamba, Petrusev, the international guy we're bringing over that Nurse said we're bringing over this year, as well as Montrezl Harrell. So we got a lot of 4s and 5s in the lineup. So who do you guys think will be the primary backup at the 4?
Yeah, that one's tough. I mean, that one's tough. I think training camp's going to have to definitely determine that, and I don't think that's going to be
a set in stone thing.
Set in stone thing. I think that could change as the season goes on.
Yeah, that'll be fluid.
I think that Bamba comes in and he is close to what his potential was supposed to be, or what he was doing with Orlando when he got the minutes. That's going to be tough to keep him off the court.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right now, if I don't know, I'm sure Teja has the numbers. I would assume, based on him shooting 3s, that his percentages are better than Paul Reed's.
Oh, I have the percentages, Eric.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure you had them. I'm assuming that they're much better from the 3-point line. I'm just not sure that he can defend most 4s.
Yeah.
Which would lead me to think that he would be more of the primary 5, and Reed would be 5 and 4.
Play on the matchup, right? On the matchup.
I'm thinking that they could Reed end up playing more minutes with Joel and some minutes with the backup 5.
Like if you played Cleveland, for instance, with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, then maybe Bamba can squeeze in at 4 and play Mobley, right?
I mean, there's some 4s you can play. If you're playing the Lakers and Rui is in, you could play him on Rui, maybe.
Bamba's pretty athletic. He's not a slow poker.
You could play him, maybe against Sacramento, Golden State, with Draymond.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's some teams out there you could play that size with, but he's still going to have to be, show some more agility because most of those guys that you could probably put him on are still agile and can make plays off the dribble.
Mm-hmm. So in 21-22, when he was averaging 26 minutes a game with Orlando, Bamba had a true shooting percentage of 58%, which ranked him 78th overall in the NBA. Next to guys like Bruce Brown, Booker, AD, Chris Boucher, who was Nurse's backup for a while, backup big. He had a catch and shoot percentage of 39% off of 4 attempts per game. Pretty good, pretty damn good, right? Last season, his overall 3-point percentage plummeted a lot with the Lakers. I don't know, he couldn't shoot in LA for some reason. But overall for the season, when you do Orlando and LA, he still had a catch and shoot of 40.5% off 2.4 attempts. So that's 2 years overall of 39 to 40%. If he hovers around 38 to 40%,
he's going to play.
He's definitely going to have those Ibaka Gasol minutes.
He's going to play.
And I like that he talked about that too. It's cool to have a player that knows his upcoming coaches recent past, and it shows you why.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but Ibaka was also
a great defender,
primarily 4.
Yeah,
until he got older.
Yeah, that's true. And Bamba's been strictly 5. But again, I think if he shoots 38-40% off 3 to 4 attempts a game, I mean, that's great. I think it's a great low risk, high upside deal for us with Bamba. I think I've liked Bamba more and more after hearing him talk and deep diving into his stats.
Yeah.
But it also tells you why. It also tells you why we didn't really hit the Christian Wood market, because we're getting a guy who can shoot it and who can play a bit of defense. And be a backup to Embiid. Yeah.
Vet min money. That's 2 years ago, that season I was talking about, when he had like 26 minutes a game and he was shooting 39%. I think he averaged like 11 and 12 and 8 that season. His stock was going up big time. So to have a guy like that, and your fortunes can change quickly in the NBA. Have a guy like that on the vet min's awesome. I do see Reed probably grab more minutes at the 4, and Bob would probably grab more minutes at the 5. But I'll agree with Eric. It'll be fluid, as much as Reed lovers don't want to hear that.
Yeah,
Reed and his $8 million a season's not, he's not plug and play at this point, no matter what, right? They're going to definitely see how it goes from game to game after training camp.
Y'all hammering for him to come back, huh? You're hammering for him to come back to do what?
Improve
and play, right?
Yeah,
that's interesting, man.
Yeah, but if Bamba looks again like you said, like he was supposed to look. I mean, let me put it this way: as Reed fans, we want him to look similar to what Bamba was doing 2 years ago. So if Bamba plays like that again, then it's a good problem to have, I think, between him and Reed.
Yeah, I think just the ability for them to show versatility to play with other bigs helps. And the way to do that is for some of them to be able to spread the court and not really play on top of each other or clog the paint.
And with Embiid missing 17 games, 65. He's not play 65 games. Is that what it is?
65 or 67, right? Whichever one it is. He's going to play his 67 games or whatever it is.
There you go. Bamba might be starting 17 games.
They're going to have at least 15 games where they're going to get a majority of the minutes.
Yep.
I don't expect you guys to know much about the Petrusev guy, but what do you guys think of? What do you guys make of that? I was under the impression that he was not going to be on the active roster, but when Nurse brought it up on Maxey's podcast, I was kind of surprised because it seems like we already have a lot of bigs already, and now we're bringing another one. I know he can stroke the ball a little bit, he can shoot it, but
I don't know, but I'll believe it when I see it. That's one thing I know about guys coming from overseas is. I've seen it go both ways.
You see him and then you don't.
Yeah, I've seen him come and have success, and I've seen some of this, they come and then he's gone, and you didn't see anything in between. So we'll see.
Nurse also said our roster right now and the roster we see come training camp will look very different. So Petrusev could easily be one of those differences.
He said that?
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah. On Maxey's podcast, right?
I believe that's what he said. He said our roster right now and the roster you see at training camp won't look similar. Something like it'll look different is what he meant.
Yeah, I mean moving your 2 guys with the last year of their deal can make it look very different.
He also said he spoke to Tobias's dad and they had a good conversation about how he's going to use him this year and that kind of stuff. So that also, it goes back to what we said about Harden being moved before Tobias would in our mind. I think Tobias.
There was reports also that he had a good conversation with James too, right?
Yeah. Having a lot of good conversations with people.
I'm just asking. I mean, he had all these good conversations, but
he's a conversationalist.
People were still putting it out that he wanted to be gone, and the Sixers are still putting it out that they're willing to work it out with him.
Yeah, love talk.
And, I don't know what you say. Tobias' dad he wasn't talking on speakerphone for us to know what he said based
That's
on
true.
what your people say.
Maybe Nurse was like, "Hold on, I'm not on speaker, Emma. You're not at a restaurant, are you? Just checking. I would, if I was a GM, I would definitely make that joke. I mean, no question. I'd be like, you're not at a restaurant and you're not on speakerphone. All right, good. Let's talk about Tobias now.
To continue to talk about James Harden. So, recent report that the Sixers would welcome Harden back. Although there's two conflicting reports. So you have Ramona Shelburne, who said that Harden requested a trade. It was not a demand. And then another report, Zach Lowe, said if you talk to people around James Harden, he's not backing down. He wants out of Philadelphia. How do you guys interpret the difference there of those two things, especially when you talk about the difference between request and a demand, and then also on the other hand, you got him his people close to him saying he wants out of Philadelphia. That sounds kind of like a demand, not really a request.
Yeah, I mean, it could have started out as a request and became a demand.
That's true. You're in the middle, in the spectrum of request and demand. Maybe it's like
he requested it, then when they didn't do it, you demanded it.
Yep.
That's what I think happened.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to sign this deal. I'm gonna keep my 1 year, but I'm requesting to be, traded. We want to hold on. We don't want to do this and that. All right. I'm demanding to be traded. I don't want to be there anymore. That's just like asking, telling your kids something and you kind of tell them, hey, no video games. And then all of a sudden you hear them game like, hey, did not say no video games. It went from just a little small say to, that's it. No more. Yeah. There we go. That's your example of probably what happened.
You could say request. You could say request is like a polite demand.
Yes.
Like how I'm being nice about it right now. Okay. It'd be great if you clean your room in 5 minutes. And then in 5 minutes, if you don't clean your room, X, Y, and Z is happening.
Yes.
So to spin it into Sixers,
they will not get the best version of James Harden if he stays. And I'm not talking about on the court. I'm just saying the best version of him being engaged.
So I was thinking about that because I was comparing. I mean, one thing with Harden, we have a lot of sample size of requests and demands, right? Mostly demands, though, right? Because with Houston, all of his guys and his teammates were kind of gone. It was a new kind of flock of teammates he had when he requested out. And Morey was gone at that point, and they were still close at that point. So when he demanded it, I don't think he really gave a shit about what management or what players thought about him. In Brooklyn, he had a falling out with Kyrie, apparently, and him and Durant were on icy terms, apparently. So when he demanded it, he didn't give a crap about what everyone thought about him. But here, he still does have a good relationship with teammates. He's cool with Tucker. He's cool with Embiid. He's cool with Harris. He's cool with Maxey. He's cool with other guys. So
he's also cool with the guys that play for the Clippers.
Yeah.
And he's from LA.
Yeah.
He'll end up with the Clippers. Dame will end up in Miami. James doesn't get moved until after Dame gets moved. That's my guess.
All right. Let me ask you a percentage then.
That's
what?
That's my guess.
Okay. So percentage of James Harden is with the Sixers game one, the regular season.
I would say it's less than 50.
Less than 50?
40%.
40% that he's with the Sixers game one.
Is the highest I would go, yes.
What about percentage he's with the Sixers by the trade deadline? Or do you think like he
there's no way.
Really? So you think if he does play, he will cause possible off the court problems enough to be like,
and I don't think he'll cause problems. I just don't think it'll be fun.
And you have the whole aspect of Nurse going.
You got a disgruntled player that don't want to be there with a new coach, new team, new system. Why do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and if they think that, then that raises the possibility of him being gone before the season, which is why Nurse probably said.
The issue is everyone knows that he wants out. So they're not going to give you a sweetheart deal. So you're going to eventually have to go to the team that's willing to, that want him.
Well, if we're talking about pure value, where would you want to be as far as James Harden? What's the best chance for you to showcase your skills and make the most money next season? Because he can't be re-signed right now and extended. He's got to play this year out. So you want to go to a new situation in LA and restart chemistry? Or do you want, at the floor in Philly, he's averaging 21 and 11 and 6.
Do we want to be in Philly?
But he wants money, right? He wants to make money.
Do we want to be in Philly?
Long term, for this year, anything.
I don't think he wants to be in Philly.
He gets fired.
You said if he wanted to be in Philly, he could have just, signed a longer deal. For the amount he make right now, just signed a 3-year deal.
Yeah.
I think they were signing for 3-year deals based on the amount.
Yeah. Yep.
So obviously it was some differences in that. So if it's differences in the contract, he's not one that's going to be like, man, I want to be here no matter what. Look, man, if I'm not getting what I want, and the signs point for him not getting what he wants, if he's going to play another year, he's going to be a year older. I don't care how he plays, because to me, it's a cap on how well he's going to play, because you still have Joel and Maxey. So he's not going to go out and average 30 with that team.
Mm-mm.
He's not going to average 25 with that team. So how is the pay going to be that different?
Because there's an unknown with LA. You got to start from scratch.
How is the pay going to be that different for the Sixers?
No, not for the Sixers.
There's no guarantee the Sixers, if he can go out and do what he did this year, they're not going to give him any more than what they would have gave him this year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So in his mind, he's like, if I'm going to take a discount.
In his mind, for what I've done last season, I led the league in assists, and I averaged basically 20 and 11. And y'all telling me, and then I'm gonna be a year older.
What I had heard, Eric,
and I'm supposed to think that you're gonna give me a better deal next year.
Now, what I heard, Eric, was when he signed that 1-and-1 deal, Morey gave him a wink, but now Morey was saying he had some citrus and he got some stuff in his eye. And he was just doing that. So he's like, no, I wasn't winking at you, dude. I was just like, my eye was burning. I didn't wink anything.
Whether they have that deal or not, the fact that James signed it leads me to think that the expectations of him getting more came from somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's him and his people assumed it, or it was presented that way.
Yeah.
We talked about it when he did that. We was like, well, it must be something he's getting on the back end of this deal.
Sure. Wink, citrus. Yeah. But how pissed off maybe is Morey and our side and the Sixers side when they heard rumors starting in December about Houston, gonna give him the bag. So we're like, you know what? In good faith, you should have played the damn year out. You were trying to gouge us for some extra money in December. You couldn't even wait for the season to be over.
He did play the season out.
He did, but we had rumors since December. We had rumors since Christmas.
But he never said it. We never had a quote from him.
Oh, we know. Come on now. Where was that coming from? It wasn't coming from Philadelphia.
Yeah, but we also have so all the rumors about Tobias, where'd that come from?
The speakerphone.
The fans? Just saying. So that's not the Sixers? That's not the Sixers putting out stuff?
Yeah, they both put out stuff. Absolutely.
Oh, so it goes both ways then.
Were the Sixers putting out stuff for against on James, though? They weren't doing anything.
We don't know.
We would have heard something. Recently, we've heard stuff. No, recently we have.
Yeah, but all we do know is, so all of this stuff about anything, so nothing about James and his partying ways and him not liking Doc and all that stuff, and all of that stuff is just all James people?
I will say that those are all very recent reports, though.
No, but I'm saying that was like during the season. That was before all of this.
I don't remember hearing. Were there a lot of Doc and Harden problems? I didn't hear about that until they lost.
I think most of that came after we lost.
I'm saying, but it was before free agency.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was way before free agency. I mean, we lost in the middle of May.
True, but we got rid of Doc supposedly for him. But he was part of the reason we got rid of Doc. So I mean, like that's
so who's putting it on? Now they putting it on him that the coach is gone, and now all of a sudden you don't want to pay that same guy.
Yeah, but when
I'm saying, is that coming from James, people?
There's smoke, there's fire. When James said him and I are okay.
Come on now, Teja. It can't just be all his people putting stuff out. Like
no. There's both sides. There's both sides.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. They're saying he said he talked all this stuff, but then all of a sudden he couldn't play with Doc and this and that, and Doc, got fired, this and that. So they ain't saying that to make a guy look good. That's not why that's being said.
You don't think any of those Doc reports came from Harden's people?
No, I'm just saying, but they're not saying that to make a guy look good. So,
no.
But they happen to say the free agent is the one that don't like the coach.
Yeah, that's true.
No one else on the team. All them guys that he's friends with, but he's the only one that don't like the coach.
It does seem kind of fishy.
Huh? Come on now.
I mean,
he's friends with everybody. He's friends with everybody. You said it. He's good friends with all these guys. But he's the only one that don't like the coach.
Players. Harden's had plenty of problems with the coaches and management. We know that. Come on now. We know that. He's got a reputation. It was his third team in 3 years.
He liked D'Antoni.
Great. Yeah, the guy who just let him shoot 50 times a game. Great. Okay. Like, yeah. I mean,
you said it though. Like don't you can't say he had all these problems with coaches and he
has though.
Success with some too.
Success, but yeah, I mean, but recently, the D'Antoni was like 5 years ago at this point, 4 years ago at this point. It was
a long time of his career. That's why his name always popped up when this whole Harden stuff happened. His name always popped up as a head coach possibility.
But we did get rid of Doc.
Didn't D'Antoni start out in Brooklyn?
Yeah, he was an assistant on that staff too.
There, yeah. Okay. They're trying to make it right with him. I mean, there's shit coming from both sides. I do agree with that.
So a report came out a couple hours ago. It's pretty much the same we already know, but it's from Woj. Daryl Morey's asking price is exorbitant. Teams are not engaging with the Sixers with the kind of asks that Daryl's asking for James Harden. Right now, the Harden talks like Damian Lillard are going to linger into the summer. Do you think the longer this goes, is the haul going to be bigger, or are they going to kind of give in to Morey's ask, or is it kind of going to kind of lessen? Will their offer kind of lose its luster as it goes further?
Are you speaking for Dame and James, or one or the other?
I'm talking about just a Harden situation.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's lingering because until the Dame Lillard situation is settled.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't make a move. You can't do anything until that's settled because you may have a chance to get him.
Yeah.
So you can't make a move. So I'm firm on him not being moved until Lillard's move. I think once Lillard moves, you'll see a little more traction pick up. I still believe. I still feel that Dame will end up in Miami. James will end up with the Clippers. It's just a matter of what other teams and players and picks, how that's going to look.
Yep, I agree.
I mean, they could be moved at the same time. We don't know.
Yeah. Plus, maybe the Sixers want Lillard off the board completely, so they could be like, "All right, Clippers, you're not getting Dame. We know that. Yes. Come on now, give us what we want. Like, no more lying and saying we're waiting for Dame. Dame's gone. You're not getting him." And maybe the Clippers want to see how much Dame goes for.
Yes.
When they're negotiating, they'd be like, I'm not giving you two first-round picks if Dame's going for 2 first-round picks.
Exactly.
I'll give you 1 first-round pick.
Exactly.
So, because Dame has higher value than Harden. He does.
Right now, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you just sit back and watch that trade, and, that kind of shows you the market.
Yeah. But if we're worried about Portland getting lowballed for Dame, wouldn't that want to make us go faster to get rid of him before we see what little goes for Dame? Because if they get lowballed and it's like 2 first-round picks and Hero, then we're like, oh man, now we have to accept Powell and Morris and Rocco and 1 pick. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you Bleav that Morey actually wants to reconcile with Harden and wants him on the team this year, or do you think that's just leverage and trying to get
Morey wants to do what's best for the team?
Yeah.
However that looks.
Yeah.
Such a long way with
James wants to do what's best for him first. Like that's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then once that's decided, then you go out and do what's best. You try your hardest.
Yeah, I think the most interesting thing with this whole thing is this whole Morey narrative. It's like this whole time we got him, everyone's like, "Oh, he's gonna do right by Harden. He's gonna give him the bags, and he's gonna get MDA, D'Antoni. He's gonna do everything to keep Morey around, and it's gonna be Harden's team." And then like now, look at this now. You know, we're talking about Morey doing what's best for the team, which obviously is his job. That's what he should be doing. But it's just interesting that his whole narrative has just kind of changed with Morey this offseason in the last few months. Okay, so last thing. So on that same Tyrese Maxey podcast with Nick Nurse, which is a great listen. If you all haven't listened to it, you guys should definitely check it out. Maxey said something pretty interesting. So I have the quote right here. Quote, "One thing I really thought about was how you say you try new things and you test them out. Like, that's crazy. I've never had a coach that like actually tests them out in the games." So before we automatically assume this is directed at Doc Rivers, let's also remember that Maxey was coached by Coach Calipari, who's another coach with a fantastic reputation. So, Eric, is that unusual to have a coach try and test out new things during a game?
I think it's about winning. I think it's about winning. Whether you try new stuff, old stuff, it's about winning the game. So I don't really think that's something to really be overly excited about. You know, who cares I don't really care about trying things. If you're losing games. I mean, let's win the games. If you want to try an experiment, try experimenting and us still win. Great. But I don't think that should. I don't think a guy should be given credit for that, and I don't think a guy should be knocked for that. To me, it's just coaching. You coach to win the game and help your guys get better. However you want to do that, you do that. But I don't think just because it's different or abnormal that it should be considered great.
Is it that different and abnormal though?
To try things during the game? Like I don't know what you mean when you say try things. Like trying what? Try a zone, try a press. Like what is he doing that's different?
Yeah, I don't think he got into specifics, but he talked about how they did this against Philadelphia, trying different ways to maybe come at Embiid in that game because he was dominating and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess I played in a different era where there's strategies for defense were more. We didn't switch everything, and we didn't switch every pick and roll. If I played against, Stephon Marbury and you want to send him left, just say, if he was bringing the ball on the left side, maybe you would, down or blue or force him to the baseline. If he was on the other side, you would send him up the court so you can always keep him to his left. So then you would trap him up the court. You wouldn't down or blue him. So he would never be able to attack with his right hand. If he's up top, you would weak because you want to send him to the left. Or if it's Nick Van Exel, you want to send him to the right. You have to know which side of the court they're on because based on where the screen is coming, you got different calls. That's not necessarily trying anything different. That's just making an adjustment for your team. Yeah, that's just coaching. So,
So it is a knock on Doc.
We've done pick and roll defense where we would run and jump instead of switching. So the guy that was up top would come and take the ball and switch, and the guy who was guarding the ball would rotate, and the other corner guy would rotate up. And he would rotate all the way to the furthest. The guy who was guarding the ball initially would rotate all the way to the furthest guy away. That's not something you do all the time, but that was maybe something you do when a team is really hurting you on a certain kind of action.
Yeah.
But we didn't try that just to try it. We tried it because we wanted to win the game.
You had to. It was necessity.
Yes, we had to do something different to win.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't want to know if that's just trying something new or trying to win. So I don't know if they just said it wrong or said it differently, not necessarily wrong, but said it differently, because just trying something new doesn't do anything for me. Like I don't mean anything.
Like what you just described, though, sounds like adjusting, which in that case, it does sound like kind of a knock on Doc Rivers, not adjusting.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know if that's what they meant. They could be just be like, okay, well, we're going to try to put our 4-man on the point guard and put, you know what I'm saying, we're going to run a 1-3-1 and put our smallest guy in the back, you know, like just something. That's what I'm saying, just trying stuff that's like no one does, and it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know unless they give examples what it meant. So that's why I'm like trying things like in the game. Like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean we're trying things? Let's go win this game.
Yeah.
Let's do what we do best and on offense and try to get them to stop it. If they can't stop it, let's keep doing it. Defensively, we're going to try to take away their actions, make them start the ball further out, keep them on one side of the court, make sure their best players aren't getting uncontested looks, try to give them always a crowd, try to make the guy that shoot you want to shoot, box out, rebound, run out of transition. It's all basic. You all know what to do going from game to game. So I don't know where the new would come in. Different. New things during the game, like I don't know what that means. So I don't know how to say that's a knock on Doc because I don't know what they're talking about.
What do you mean specifically? Yeah. I mean, without knowing specifics, I don't think it's a bad thing. I do think we've had trouble in the playoffs when teams do different things than they did in the regular season to try and stop us. Like, for instance, when Boston did a better job against the pick and roll, it seemed like we were just come hell or high water. We're trying to make our regular season offense work and let our talent and pick and roll offense win the game. And we weren't adjusting. I think that was definitely a problem. Yeah, our best players didn't play. I'm not putting it all on Doc now that he's gone.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is if you have Joel and you throw it down to him where he's in position where no one can guard him one-on-one and you double, that's all the action you need. You have your best player with the ball in scoring position. Come stop me, or I'm gonna score every time. If you do, I'm gonna swing. Somebody's getting a wide open shot. You have the guy cut that you don't want to take the cut or take the shot or set a screen. You get different action off of that. It's all about your best players getting action, getting shots, getting looks, putting pressure on the defense, making adjustments to stop you.
Yes. Yeah. And if he can do that by trying new things, then hell, do it. It's like
that's what sense. I don't know how that's any different than I don't know what you can do differently other than just giving Joel the ball. Now he already said like, he into just giving the big the ball, right? Isn't that what you all said he said?
Yeah, that was before he was our coach, though.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, you can do all these tricks and all this action you want. You can run people in circles, and we did what they call now the Iverson cut, right? But at the end of the day, we were trying to do what?
Win.
Give AI the ball.
Wow.
Right?
Yep.
So you did all the tricks you want, but at the end of the day, it's one player you want to get the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, we want who to have the ball.
Joel.
We have other guys that can score it, but at the end of the day, it's the reason why he led the league in scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what trick you got. I don't know why you got to be a trickster to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Maxey seems to like it, so I like that he's happy.
Yeah, Maxey is able to score and get shots and not be double teamed.
Yeah.
He should love it.
And they reportedly want to give him the ball more, so of course he's loving that. He's gonna have a bigger role with James gone.
And a bigger role equals.
He already getting his money.
Yeah, Eric, come on, Marcus. Eric knew I was going with that.
He already getting his money.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. if. It's just a win.
So the heroes is floor, right? Heroes, Jordan Poole hero. It's floor, no?
No.
What's his floor? You think Baines is floor now?
His floor is nowhere near hero. His floor to me is 150, 160.
For like 4 years extension.
Floor, yes.
Well, and that's exactly why we're waiting to re-sign him so we can get someone else under contract and then re-sign him to that deal.
Yeah, that's the reason why. Yeah, you're right. There is a reason why. That's why.
We're not stupid. We know because we don't want that $40 million number as his cap hole next season.
Yep.
So you're coming around to want to pay him, Teja? Because I remember we had that first conversation a couple months back.
Hold on. When did I not want to pay him?
You thought he was going to take a hotel discount.
In a couple years
I wanted. Yeah, I want that. Oh, I'm in there. I'm not fucking right now. I'm doing
Tyler
that.
Hero, his floor. No, you know it's not. Stop
It's his
acting
floor.
like that.
It's his floor. He was sixth man of the year. Come on,
That
now he
deal's
wasn't
already done. That deal's already done, man.
I like that deal.
That minimum for that deal is already done. There's no way. There's no way, Rich. If Rich comes in and to negotiate, they put that out there and be like, all right, man, until y'all come to y'all senses, we're not even gonna have another conversation.
Now, okay, let's say Harden's gone. Let's say Maxey is not as efficient as he was last year, shooting 43% from three. His efficiency goes down. He struggles a little bit. Now what happens? Hero money?
No. You heard what I said, right?
Still no.
You heard what I said.
Do you think, Eric, because I know some people have thrown this out there, the fact he didn't get his extension now, this puts into jeopardy if he does get hurt this year. Does that hurt?
I think it only goes up before it goes down.
Okay. Well, good for him.
Unfortunately, the only thing that could make it go down is, knock on wood, is what you don't want to happen.
Injury.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still think, then you're talking about Hero as his floor. Then I think he still gets it. Then it just comes into how much is going to be guaranteed and all that stuff. And then you put parameters on if he makes a certain thing and all that. Then you just kind of have protections on him getting back to that level to get the pay. But he's getting it. It's in the works.
Yeah, I think they know already. That's why there haven't been any negative reports about his non-extension, because they've told Mitch and his guys are like, we'll take care of you. Just give us a minute. Let's get our books in order. Let's get someone else under contract. Let's get our money there. And then we'll give you what you deserve.
Which he does.
I mean, my thing is, you're not going to not pay James and then not pay him too.
Yeah.
Because what the hell are you saving it for? At that point.
For a new Washington Commander Stadium.
I'm just saying. Yeah. No, y'all seen that report? Well, how much they said that the NFL is approaching on a yearly basis? Yeah. 25 million, 25 billion.
Crazy.
There ain't no shortage.
No.
Everybody want no money going there. It'll be maybe the other way around.
And I believe the Sixers are looking at a new area for the stadium. They're going to build a new stadium too. So I mean, obviously, Harris he's got the money. He's got the dough.
Yeah, we don't know how much that out of pocket and what's coming out of the taxes of the.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fronted by the people. I mean, that's usually how it happens.
I wouldn't use that to brag about how much money he has. We're just about to ask for 80% of it from the city holders.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Well, that does it for us. We'll see you guys next week as we discuss more about the off-season rumors and speculation. So we hope everybody has a good weekend. We'll see you next time.
All right, take it easy.
All right, guys.